Thank you for watching WISD TV and welcome to another edition of Know Your Schools. My name is Dale Caffey. My special guest on this edition of Know Your Schools is Trey Hall. He is the new principal at J.H. Hines Elementary School. Mr. Hall, or Trey, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you, Dale.
And welcome to Waco ISD, because you are new to Waco ISD and new to the city of Waco. Let's talk about your background.
Thanks. Well, my background is kind of varied. I first got a degree from Texas Tech in business, and then after a while in business decided that my real vocational calling was education. So I went back to school, got a master's degree from Wayland Baptist, and then started teaching school. And have had a couple of principalships since then, and never a dull moment.
Tell me a little bit about the transition from the business world to education. You mentioned the calling.
Right.
I mean, that's something personal to you, but I mean, how does that happen?
Well, I probably should have went into education when I graduated from high school, and kind of let my family talk me out of it. And went into the family business instead, and later came to it with lots of prayer and consideration, and actually came into it through volunteer opportunity. I started coaching my son's debate team, and had a great experience with those kids. And that calling kept getting stronger and stronger, and I kept trying to say no, 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 and finally decided that was the calling, vocational calling that I had.
Okay, you come to us from Munday, M-U-N-D-A-Y.
I do indeed.
Talk about that city, where it's at, and
Right.
the population of that area.
Right. Munday is a rural school near Wichita Falls. The Moguls, which is kind of unique. No one knows what that is, so Indian warrior. But it's the population there is high poverty. About 87% of the students are in poverty, and there's a high minority population as well. It is a small community, about 1,400. I had about 200 and some odd students in the school that I was at, so a little bit larger school at Hines. So.
Is that where your first principalship was, or did you have one prior to that?
Prior to that, I was at Paducah ISD, which is a K-12 school. I was principal for a K-12 school, and it was similar demographics, high poverty, rural, and it was a very interesting challenge to be at a K-12 school as the only administrator on campus.
Wow, K through 12. That's
through 12.
The broad range of students.
It is, indeed. Indeed it is.
Well, talk about your move to Waco and what instigated your interest in becoming principal at Hines.
Well, that's a really interesting story. I signed up for Twitter a couple of years back and thought, I won't ever use this. And then a consultant was on my campus one day, and he's actually a mentor of mine now, and he said, you really need to check that out. You really need to build a professional learning network through Twitter. It'll change the way you think about education. And I said, I don't know about that. You know, my kids are tweeting what they eat and where they're meeting, and just kind of like that, and they do it a lot, but how does that help me? And he said, well, you'd be surprised. So I went online, signed up, got my account reactivated, and started actively tweeting on a EdChat hashtag EdChat, which is a national education chat that happens every week. And then a friend of mine, Carrie Ross, who's an instructional specialist at Trinity ISD, had been to an Al November conference, and he's kind of a leading futurist in the country as far as education goes. And he had encouraged her to start a TexEd chat, so hashtag TXED. And I started following that and actively participating, and she actually was just starting it and asked me to be a co-moderator. So I signed up as a co-moderator, and then one of the consultants that works with us here at Waco, Sean Kane,
Yes.
I started tweeting with him, and he sent me a link and said, this is a job you should apply for. And I applied for it and got the interview, came and interviewed and got the position. So it's really strange how I came to Waco ISD and J.H. Hines, but that was how I got here.
Now, one question you probably have been asked since you arrived is, you're Caucasian,
Right.
and the population at Hines is predominantly African American,
Right.
and their principals, the last two at least, have been African American principals.
Sure.
And so, why the interest in that job, and basically probably ask Dr. Kane, why did they hire you for that job?
Right. Well, I mean, as far as me being Caucasian on an African-American campus predominantly, I'm kind of post-racial, you know, I don't really see color. I'm looking more for character and, you know, that kind of thing in a person. And particularly my interest there is, I believe that in a growth mindset. I think every kid can learn. It may take some longer due to their circumstances of being in poverty or, you know, their backgrounds or whatever. But I like a good challenge. And the Hines being academically unacceptable and, you know, all of that is a great challenge. And I think I'm up for the challenge. I get really bored if there's not a great challenge in front of me. And I think that working with the great faculty, I've really come to know some of the faculty at Hines. They're there for the right reasons, and that's exactly why I'm there.
You have some holdovers from the staff last year. Did you have to do some hiring this summer?
We are still working on hiring this summer. We had 13 positions open. We filled some of those. We're still working diligently to try and fill the single gender classrooms that we're going to be doing. But I've still got 4 or 5 teachers to hire, but mostly we're getting close to being full staffed.
And you hit on something there that was going to be my next question. Single gender classrooms is something that you're going to pursue this year at Hines.
Right.
Talk about that.
Well, the late Dr. Rita Pearson had suggested that some of our most fragile students at Hines could be routed into an intervention where they could be more successful. That would be, we're going to do a 3rd grade class, a 4th grade class, and a 5th grade class that would be male students in one classroom. We're looking for and have found some really great candidates to hire for those positions, but we're looking for strong male influences to put in those classrooms. We've also hired a paraprofessional from the community that is a gentleman that has just such a pastor's heart and just has a real passion for these young boys that are having lots of trouble. And he's going to assist us there as well. And we really feel like we can kind of target the interventions for those kids. They're our most academically fragile. They're ones that have some behavioral issues, high risk for dropout. And we feel like if we put them all together in a room, we're going to really try to create some community. And by putting together those really strong male influences in that community, really try to give them some hope, show them a different way, that they can succeed, that making good grades and being a good academic student is a good thing and will be good for their future. And we'll continue to spiral them up together as one class. And it is a voluntary program. Our parents will be contacted in the next couple of weeks about it. We're going to talk to them about some of those interventions, those specific targeted interventions. We'll have some behaviorists from central office working in some of those classrooms. And I'm really looking forward to that program, and I think the gentlemen that we have talked to go in those classrooms are going to be they're really passionate about young boys.
Sounds exciting, and of course you mentioned you need the parent buy-in because it's not mandatory, but it's something that you really want to pursue.
Right.
And so hoping for that buy-in.
Me too. Me too. I think we'll have good buy-in once we kind of show parents who the teachers are going to be and introduce them to those guys. They're pretty charismatic and gregarious, and really have a love and passion for helping troubled kids.
Speaking of parents, of course, you'll have a chance to meet them as school starts and as the first month begins. Have you had a chance to walk the neighborhood a little bit yet, knock on doors?
Haven't knocked on any doors yet, but I did drive the attendance zone with Miss LeBlanc, the previous principal. We kind of did a tour of the neighborhood. I've met some of the parents, and they've been very welcoming, and I'm looking forward to meeting some more.
Now, you recently did an interview with a newspaper reporter, and you mentioned that 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade single-gender setting and mentioned their high dropout potentials at risk.
Right.
And that surprised her and me because even at that early age, you can get an indication as to the future of that child.
Right. Well, really, that's kind of why I came to elementary school. You know, my previous assignment was not elementary, but I really feel like that those early targeted interventions in 3rd, 4th grade. I think a lot of the new research is showing us that 3rd and 4th grade kind of is where it's at. If they're not on a proficient level at 3rd or 4th grade, they're going to be at high risk for dropout and high risk for academic trouble. So we can make a real difference by working and targeting those interventions in those early grades.
You mentioned the use of Twitter and social media. Sounds like you're a person who likes using some new technologies in order to make some connections out there.
Yeah, I'm kind of probably the geekiest principal you've ever met. But yeah, I mean, in the last couple of schools I've been at, we were very successful in using Facebook to communicate with parents, both in the classroom and on a district-wide basis. I've done some interesting work as far as parental contact with those social media avenues. And I really think that our students that we have now, that's how they're going to work. They're not going to work in these real structured teams where they, you know, someone tells them what to do all the time. There's going to be more of a social teaming kind of aspect to work. And that's what our students are going to need to be successful. Some of those, you know, social media and collaboration tools and electronic tools like that.
One thing you have at Hines that's really, really nice is a brand new building, one that's going into, I believe, its 4th year of use. Are you impressed so far with the facility as you've walked it these past few days? Absolutely.
The building is absolutely beautiful. It's a wonderful facility for the students of Waco, and I'm blessed beyond measure to have such a beautiful facility. Absolutely gorgeous. The folks at Waco have done a great job in making sure their students have the best facilities.
Well, we wish you all the best of luck as you head into your first year at Hines. Any closing thoughts as we conclude the interview?
No, I just look forward to my time here, and I look forward to meeting a lot of my parents and some of my colleagues and getting to know everyone. I'm blessed to be here.
Great. Trey Hall, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you, Dale.
This is Trey Hall, the new principal at J.H. Hines Elementary School. Thank you so much for joining us for Know Your Schools. My name is Dale Caffey, and we'll see you next time.